Good morning, goeiemorgen.
Môre.
Or how do they say kia ora?
Ja.
Guys and girls, good morning. Let's just put this mic a bit nearer to us. This morning we're talking all about starting your new life in New Zealand. There's a reason why we want to talk about this, and the reason there is a lot of new people has arrived on the island in the last few weeks or months, let me rather say months. And I had a very interesting chat with some of them last night, and some of them on the internet, and some of them on Facebook, and they've all got basically the same thing to say. They are struggling to adapt. So, especially somebody that spoke to us last night said he has been all over the world. He worked all over the world for up to 4 years per time in certain countries. I named a few countries, and he said coming here was totally different. So last night I thought, geez, why was it so different? And then I realized it's because when he was working overseas, he knew he could go home.
Yeah, he said
And when he
last
arrived
night,
here,
that's what
it
he
had to
said.
be home. Yeah.
He knew it was only for
Yeah.
4 years, and the thing is, where he worked, they organized everything for him. So
That's
he
right.
just, someone picked him up from the airport, took him to his new house. Everything was sorted. He didn't have to sort anything out. Coming to New Zealand,
Total
you
different
get to
story.
the airport and there's no one there to pick you
Yep.
up. So, yep.
Yeah. So I was thinking about all the ways to start your new life and how to start your new life to make a success of it. And this is not stuff that I went to read on the internet. Oh, we got a crazy cat inside here. This is not stuff I read on the internet. This is stuff, my own personal experiences and stuff of my friends' experiences. Does the camera look a bit blurry this morning?
It does.
It's not. It's like that. Okay, let's try that. So, stuff that shook us up. Point one, converting everything back to the currency we came from, converting everything back to rands.
Yes, we
Yeah.
did that in the beginning because we were still living
Yeah.
on rand.
We were living on rands, yeah, so we had probably had the right to convert that to rands,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, it actually made it worse because you started seeing, oh, wow, this is costing so much rands, and it's not costing so much rand, it's costing so much dollars. So that was the one big thing that caught me, and I struggled with that for quite a few months, to be quite frank.
Mm.
So what else was there that you struggled with that in the end of the day you thought you should never have done it that way?
No, I wouldn't say it like that. I was just thinking about things that you should do or maybe shouldn't do.
Okay.
So converting is one of them.
One of them is converting. Don't convert your New Zealand dollars to rands.
No, you can convert it if you want to visit South Africa. Yes,
Oh, yeah,
then
yeah.
convert it.
Convert it, yeah.
But don't do it when you come here. I remember our first shopping for groceries experience. We had a trolley, and we walked through the whole of Pack and Save. And when we got to the end, I think there was like 10 items in my trolley because I just couldn't.
She couldn't pay the price they
I
wanted.
just couldn't. I looked at the stuff on the shelf and I was going like, no, I can't pay this. So I had a thing in my mind: if it's over $5, I don't buy it.
And a trolley here is called a trundler.
Yes.
So a trundler.
Yeah.
So putting in petrol. Yep, that's another one. You just for me, I work on the price to fill up the tank. I've got a diesel SUV, so that takes about between $80 and $100 depending on how far empty it is.
Yes.
So I think it's not too bad.
I was always driving a diesel, so then the diesel wasn't that expensive. But now I've got a petrol. I normally ended. I only had to put like $50 or something in my car, and now all of a sudden I think it ended at $124.
You know what? You know what happened in the past?
Why?
You had a wonderful husband, eh? Who paid your ROC that you don't even know about.
Yeah, I know that.
Good one coming in here. I don't know who this Facebook user is. It says, and this is.
I
don't
also
live
struggle
in.
with that.
It's difficult, even now. It's difficult.
You think the thing is, when you've got family in South Africa, in the beginning, I really struggled because it felt like my day never ended. My day started in New Zealand, and then 5, 6 o'clock tonight, my day
Started
started in South Africa.
Yep.
So I was talking to my daughter twice a day, in the morning and in the evening. And then in the end, I said no, once a day, because I
Yeah.
really can't do this anymore. It just felt like I didn't have, my days just flew one into
Yeah.
the other.
Vanita's is saying on the other channel, if you convert, you won't buy anything and can't live. Same concept when you vacation overseas.
Yes.
I'm going to say vacation overseas. We went on a few vacations and I had a budget.
At least then you had a budget.
Yeah,
yes.
and I had the budget, but I had to stick to the budget, because if I go over the budget, that wasn't a good thing.
Yeah.
Then the bank manager would have been angry at me. So, for
We
my
also
wife-
had a budget,
Yep,
which you can't stick to. I'm
which
sorry
flew
to
out
say.
the window when we arrived at Auckland Airport.
I think whatever is on your budget, you can double that.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that.
No. One other thing to start your new life in New Zealand, accept the fact that they do stuff different here.
Yes.
You got to accept that, guys. And I know so many people say to me, "Oh my goodness, I just wish they would get to the times. I just wish they would use this program. I wish they would do that."
I don't. Yeah.
Accept the fact that you're not going to change the way of living here, and enjoy the fact that living is a bit slower.
I think that's probably the same for when you go overseas for a holiday, even if it's for a month or two. Then it's the difference is it's fun and it's kind of an experience. But it will be the same if we go to Italy. We love the experience, but to get to the point of living there, I think it would also be a little bit frustrating then.
Yeah, I think it's frustrating on the one side. I'm going to put that on now. Frustrating in the one side, because you were working with a different system and the speed that it happened was normally much faster. And life is a bit more laid back here.
Yes.
I struggled with that. I struggled to drive 30 kilometers an hour. I struggled to drive 50. Now they've lowered in our suburb, they've lowered from 60 to 50. It's actually not that bad.
No, it's not.
No.
I think you must just embrace the fact that you're in a new country. Don't try to change it. And remember, it's not South Africa.
Yeah.
You moved to a different country. Don't try to change it into South Africa. It is not South Africa. And I think that's what frustrates the Kiwis. If they don't want to know how South Africa was. They don't want to know how you lived and what you did.
I fully agree with you there. They don't want to hear that South Africa was better, because if South Africa was so much better, what the heck are you doing here? Come on. Let's be honest. I mean, perhaps the system was faster, perhaps, but with this faster system, we didn't have internet, or you didn't have power, or you didn't have.
Yeah. I never talk to any of them about South Africa. If they ask me,
I'll tell
what
them.
my life was like, I'll tell them, but I never compare.
Yeah.
I don't think it's right.
You got to do this. Yep. You got to do this. You got to know when to shut up in this country. Really, I struggled with that. I was used to just getting the business done and getting and going like this.
I think you were used to putting up a fight to get something done. When you pick up the phone and you want to change something at the bank or whatever, you had to be kind of aggressive about it. Otherwise, it wouldn't happen.
And it's frustrating. I'm having a problem with my BNZ bank card. I haven't received that in 2 months. I am going to phone them this morning again, because I mean that is unacceptable. But it's a small island.
Yeah, but the BNZ card doesn't come from a different country.
No, it doesn't come from a different country. But I mean, I find that unacceptable. It took 2 months to send my card there, although I phoned them and they promised I'll send it with. At the same time, we replaced the other bank card, and
in
that
2
card
days.
was here within 2 days. Yeah. So I find that unacceptable. Somebody saying it's a small island. You got to remember that. If you cause havoc where you are working and you go to a different area, if you go from the North Island to the South Island, it's a small island. I was one evening standing around a braai, and I said to somebody, I heard this guy in this area and that was in a different on the different island, is looking for a job. And just said to me, "You'll never work with that person." I thought, oops. And that person was about only 2 years here. So somewhere along the line, something had to go wrong somewhere. I don't know what. I didn't ask.
That's the thing. You must remember that this is a
Yep.
small island.
Yep.
It and it's funny how it works, but people know about people,
Yeah.
and the word gets around. But
So-
then also, you don't want to be afraid of just being yourself, do you? No.
And sometimes you just need to be yourself. You need to loosen your hair, but do that in a controlled environment. So
Yeah.
I have put that. I want to put the other one up. This one. Agree. Learning to switch your phone off. That's important. That's important. That's what I do now. About 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, I switch my phone off totally. There's just no compromise for me for this.
The thing is, what's nice is when we're asleep, it's daytime in South Africa, and
then
I don't know
everybody sends
why,
you
but
WhatsApps
nothing bad ever happens during the day, does it? So
Yeah.
when they're sleeping, when it's nighttime, there our phones are on. So if something should happen, they will be able to get hold of us.
So if you arrive in New Zealand and you have stopped converting and you are holding your tongue, I find that people are working way harder, especially the guys on work visas. They are working way harder. They have to prove their point. That's what they think.
We were talking to someone last night, and they've been here for 6 months now. And she also said, it's just the way that we are. That's the way that we grew up in South Africa. She got here and she just worked non-stop, didn't take lunches, worked over hours. And now she realizes it's really just go to work and do your job and go home. No one even, they don't think you the
You aren't going to get paid more.
best thing since sliced bread if you work harder than you should. It's nothing to them. So you must just do what you have to do. That's all. You don't have to prove yourself.
And something, if you were used to complaining in South Africa, don't come here and continue with it. Don't come and complain. You'll find that the amount of time that people wants to listen to your complaints is really minimal.
Yeah, and I think another thing about the jobs, that's also what Mariska said last night. She is very intelligent woman with a good job. She came here and with a little bit of a demotion, she had to do student work when she got here in her field, but still she had to do the first line of work. And she just knew that this is what she has to do to get to the top again.
You do that.
You have to be able to, I don't know.
Adapt.
Yes.
I would say adapt. Adapt. The right word there is adapt. You got to step out of your South African environment and you got to step into the Kiwi environment, which is totally different.
Yes.
It may be slower. There's a reason why it's slower. There's really a reason why it's slower.
And it's going to be different.
And if the system works, and this is a Kiwi thing, to be quite frank, if the system works, why replace it?
Yes.
It's one of those things. So.
And I think another thing is, and this is, I get this a lot from the men, they want to come here and work top of the line with top salaries, and they don't want to listen to anyone else because they're used to doing that. It's mostly the men that have their own business in South Africa, and all of a sudden they have to work for a boss. And sometimes they're the appy, and the guy that his boss is like 27 and he is 45. So it is difficult, but you just have to get through that first 2 years. Just get your residence, and then you can do what you want to.
South Africa has Africa time, and New Zealand has got island time. I like it. I like it. Yes, we do have island time here. We have a lot of island time.
Yeah.
So, cream rises to the top. Eventually, you will be successful.
Yes, you will. And they will respect you. They will respect you for that. And you'll know their ways. You have to start again learning how they do things, what they used to do things. So I think it's a good thing if you start from the bottom again.
Respect the map of the world. And if you are, what you doing?
Your eyes itching.
Oh. And if you are one of those guys that still supports the Springbok, good on you. They won't hold it against you, but the day that the Springboks do win, Don't try to rub it into everybody's
No,
noses.
but I actually
So,
respect the fact that you still a Springbok supporter.
yep. Hey, I will respect that. Yeah.
Yeah, and most of them,
Yeah.
you don't. Please don't say it first, but they will come to you and say, "Oh, so what did you think of the rugby?" Or "You
Yeah.
guys did good," or something. But
And if they say that, they're open to a small bit of criticism, but don't go around
yeah, the
telling
thing is,
them how
they don't
bad
have
they were.
any sense of humor, so this is not something that you can
Yeah.
do with
Although
them.
they've got a weird sense of humor, different than
Some
us
of
South
them
Africans.
appreciate it, but most of them don't. Yeah, so that's another thing that you have to get used to. Is they just don't have
I
any
think
sense.
our South Africans got a cynical sense of humor.
I think we got
We have
used to be like that.
we have to deal with so much crap that you'd rather
Yeah.
make a joke of that. And
Yeah.
so,
If you make the kind of jokes here that you used to make in South Africa, they don't think it's funny.
they don't understand that. Let's
Yeah.
not badmouth them this morning. Let's rather say the Kiwis don't understand.
Yeah.
They really don't understand the humor because they've never been in a situation where we were. And they never had to
Yeah.
use humor as a self-defense just to survive.
And they don't want to hear your explanation about it. Just
Neither
don't
do
do it. They're not interested.
Matthew's saying on the other side, he says, tools, names are different of
Mm.
tools. That's a few things you got to adapt to. You got to adapt to the fact that the bakkie is a ute. You got to adapt to the fact that robots.
Yeah, but I
There's
think
no
he's
robots
talking
here.
about the tools that he actually uses.
That's my point as well. Tools. Tools has got
That's the
different
thing.
names.
That's why I think it's good to start from the bottom. Then you learn all this. Yeah.
And interesting enough, speaking to some of the guys that had their own business in South Africa and came to work for Boss here because they had to do that on the on the visa that they were on. Some of them said they will never again work for themselves. That I find very interesting as well.
I think if the working environment is nice, you go to work, you get your salary, you go home, you enjoy your weekend, you don't have any to worry about anything. There was something that I wanted to say now.
Vanita just saying when the All Blacks win, family violence is zero over that weekend. So,
yes.
Yeah. There's so many the two cultures. Although we look the same, although we speak the same type of English, we are so much different. We are really, really so much different. We are way separated. It's not.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be a different look. We don't look different than the other ones. The ones that doesn't have red hair and we've got brown hair or whatever the fact is. But
another thing that is actually but that helps a lot is there are so many immigrants in this country.
Yeah.
Especially in Auckland. I think 3/4 of Auckland are immigrants and the rest are Kiwis.
This is an interesting comment. I do agree with this. I think the biggest positive thing that you can do before immigrating is prepare your mindset.
Yes, you have to come with the right mindset.
We sat down on a Friday afternoon after work until basically that Monday morning just before work, and we watched YouTube videos about New Zealand. I think the kids were later so tired of us watching New Zealand videos.
Like, oh my word, New Zealand again.
They would just walk in, see what's on the TV, and walk out. So, and that, I think that prepared a way for me to see the beauty of the country through somebody else's eyes, because I mean, I haven't seen that. I've never experienced New Zealand. I've seen their culture while on television, and that was before I came here. And then that gave me an idea, not 100% idea, but it did give me a better idea than the person who just arrives here.
It gives you an idea, but it doesn't.
No, it doesn't
prepare
have. No,
you
I fully agree with that, and I'm not going to even think about.
But I still just feel when you decide to immigrate, even if it happens if it happens in 3 weeks, if you're not prepared to change your mindset,
you can just well go back.
Don't come.
Yeah,
because it's also not nice for the South Africans that are here, that really wants to be here, to hear about the moaning all the time. Because we are so privileged to be here, and we feel so privileged to be here. So listening to someone that's moaning and groaning about the stupid stuff like a garden boy or whatever, it's one thing to say, oh yes, today I really miss Pretty or whatever, but don't moan about it.
I think what got them under from me in the first few months was the fact that when I walked into a house, I couldn't find the burglar bars. I couldn't find the security gate, and I wasn't ready for that.
Oh,
Coming from South Africa, I mean, you had to have a burglar bars. You had to have a security gate. And
yeah.
when we arrived at these rental homes, I would walk in and think, oh, this thing is dangerous.
I
And I would go out and say,
actually,
where's the burglar bars? Don't you guys have? And they would look at me, huh?
that was actually exactly what I expected it to be. So was in
Yeah.
my element. Coming here, I knew there wasn't
I,
going to
I,
be burglar bars.
deep in my mind, I knew
Yes.
there wasn't going to be burglar bars. I just couldn't. I grew up. I grew up in the 70s and the 80s
You know what?
without burglar bars.
Now that I think about it, I was actually feeling in myself, not to the outside. I was feeling quite arrogant about it within myself. I was like, I'm living in a safe country. I can go to bed. I can sleep. Nothing's going to happen to me. I was really kind of,
Where was it? Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
I was just feeling so
Come on, it's good.
kind of, yeah.
It's good. It's good. You've got to feel. If you feel unsafe, if you still feel unsafe here, I mean, there's nowhere else in the world that you can go that you will be
Yeah.
safer than New
I
Zealand.
have never felt unsafe in this country.
Yeah.
Never.
Brian Mitzi just saying on the other side, there was something I wanted to touch on as well. He says, leave South Africa and South Africa.
Yes.
It's important. It's important. Somebody said about Mrs. Ball's blood tank. If you can't get it, don't let your world end there.
I was funny. I found myself yesterday doing this because I still struggle with the mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise. I was going to put mayonnaise on the table.
And we're busy preparing for camping this weekend. And I bought the potatoes, and I was thinking, okay, I'll just get the mayonnaise from the international aisle in the shop. And I got there, oh, there's no mayonnaise. So what did I do? I decided, okay, we're going to make the potatoes just with butter on it. I'm not even going to go potato salad because I didn't want to go back to the South African shop now.
Can I tell them about your mayonnaise experience?
Oh, my word. I think I went through
I think
7
we had
or 8.
500,000 different types of mayonnaise before she got the right one.
I did realize that when you buy their mayonnaise, you just have to add a little bit of vinegar to it. Then it tastes better. It's just a little bland.
I've got to say, our first shopping experience was back in Safe Papamoa. And we were about in the third aisle when a little girl came running up to us and said, "Julle praat ook Afrikaans." And that was Dirk.
Ja, koop hierdie tomaties.
Yeah, and then the father came around and she said to him, "Oh, she's we're looking for this." And this oak just went and he helped her all through the racks and showed her which tomato sauce to buy and which stuff. And that really made a big change. That made a big change. But sadly enough, there's not a Dirk in every packing safe. And we lost a bit of contact with Dirk. He's presumably somewhere in Hamilton, I think. So
Then one thing that I really want to touch this morning is all about friendships, making friends in New Zealand. Because this is a really hard one. I don't know if it's hard for men too, probably, but it's really hard for women. And when we are here, we've been here now for almost 4 years. So when we arrived in New Zealand, you feel really vulnerable. You do.
It is.
Because you don't know anyone and you don't actually know where you fit in and how things work. So I think, and we met another South African couple, and I was just so happy. I was just thinking, oh, iemand vir my maatjie wees. So I was just so happy that there was someone interested in being my friend and showing me the ropes, which she did. But
at the cost.
What I want to say is just be careful with your heart when you come to New Zealand and you try to make friends. I don't want to say, because some people are just, that's the way they are. They just put everything on the table.
Yeah.
I am glad I didn't do that. I gave as much as I could, but I didn't do that because I got hurt a lot in the past. So I think that kind of put my walls up.
Yeah.
But the first person that you meet is probably not going to be your best friend for the rest of your life. So just be careful. Being vulnerable, it's easy to just fall into a trap. So You will make friends. It took me almost 3 years to make friends that I can really be myself with, and they feel like sisters to me. It took me 3 years. So just be gentle with
Yeah.
yourself and be patient.
And you got to remember, we as men, and this is a problem with our DNA. That's a nice thing, eh?
Mm.
Problem with our DNA. We will stand around the bright fire and have a beer and how are you? It's good, good. Nobody comes and says, "Oh, you know my wife last night." No, we don't do that. Come on, this is woman stuff. Yeah, man, I beat this. Nah, man, have another beer. Come on.
Someone there says, protect your values.
Yeah, protect your values. It's important. And then
Yeah.
a question here from how long have you been in New Zealand? We've been here nearly 4 years.
Yeah,
Nearly
almost
4 years.
4 years.
4 years. Very soon we can apply for citizenship.
Yes.
That's my big day. I want the black mamba, as they call him
I
here.
think if I can just say something today to everyone that's new, even if it doesn't feel okay at the moment, give yourself time. It will take time, and I think it will probably take about 3 years. We settled in very quick. I felt at home very quick, but to make friends and to find your place in the
And
society.
you don't need to be best buds with everybody. You don't need to be best friends with everybody. And if you think of somebody that you wouldn't have been friends with at home, it probably won't be friends with here as well. That is because people different. We are different people, different values, different.
I don't think you're going to be friends with everyone that comes
no,
from South Africa in New Zealand. It doesn't work like that. You
Yeah.
still have the same values, and
And if you long for a home for what's carte blanche, theory of that. So. No, it is normal for people to eventually just remember the good things and forget about the bad things. And sometimes you have to remind yourself about the bad things just to remember why you've left South Africa. Nothing bad about
Someone
that.
there says having a relationship with our maker is what helps to. Oh yes.
Yep.
I think as with everything in life, if you try to do it on your own, you're gonna struggle.
And the other thing is, your chummy, your partner that came with you, the guys have got to learn to talk to each other. If you had a shitty day, I can't use Afrikaans word because there's kids listening. If you have a shitty day, speak to people. Speak to your partner.
Yeah, if you don't tell him what happened in your day or how you're feeling, how is he supposed to know that? Because you also have to be wary that your relationship is going to be tested.
It's going to take strain, let's face it.
Yes.
It's going to take strain. And not because you are going to be unfaithful or any other stuff like that.
But
it's going to take strain because it's hard. You're doing a whole lot of new stuff, and the partner's also doing a whole lot of new stuff.
And everyone is experiencing it in a different way.
In a different way.
And if there's something that I can say that we've said so many times to people who are still in South Africa that wants to come to New Zealand, if you and your partner is not on the same page with immigration, don't do it.
Don't think it's going to change because you're here.
Don't do it.
One thing about my partner is I'm a bit hard of hearing, so when the Kiwis start talking, they talk softly. They're soft spoken. I can't hear them. I just tell her, please listen to what they're saying.
And some of them talk very quick. They talk very fast. And now with the masks, it's really hard. I even have to kind of sit like that.
I'm a million times better now, but in the beginning, because the English is different, and they talk softer and faster, and the English is different, and I've got to nearly stand like this next to them to hear what they're saying. I just said to them, just listen to what they're saying and tell me.
Yeah.
And that helps. So two partners working together can be a good thing.
Yeah. I think we should end with what Jake said last night.
Yeah. Somebody that went back just before the new visa regulations came through, and he said,
I miss New Zealand. So Jan asked him, please tell us what it is that you miss from someone that you lived here. He only went back because of family.
Yep.
Nothing else. Otherwise, he still would have been here. So if you take that away, you can read that.
Sorry.
He said,
This is all in Afrikaans, but let's try and translate it.
he,
He misses the order.
yes,
He misses
how
the
neat it is.
neatness, the freedom for the kids. He misses the nature. He misses the ease of how easy a
Everything
working
works,
system
yeah.
is. He says much better work opportunities.
The only
Yeah.
thing that got to him was the uncertainty about
Residency
residence
and the fact that
and
his
to be
family was
split from
there and
his
he was
partner.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah. And sorry, Jake, that you had to go home.
yeah.
I'm sad for everybody who even thinks about going home. I just feel I want to cry for them. I
Yeah.
mean,
It is just good
Yeah.
to hear again, because when you hear and you miss your family,
Yeah.
especially in instances like that where you don't know if they're going to be able to come here, then it's good to hear from their side what it is that they miss about New Zealand. Then
and I
it just
promise
makes
you,
you think again how
everybody
privileged you
I
are.
hear that's going back, I get on the phone or on Facebook or somewhere, I contact them and ask why. I need to know why. I don't want to try and convince them to stay. That's just not.
Yeah, but it's nice to
It's
know
nice
why.
to know
Why
why.
are you
Because
going
for the
home?
future people coming here, if I see a commonality that gets people going back, I want to explain to them before they even reach that commonality. So, all right, guys, and time has come and we are ready to say goodbye. This weekend, it's Labour weekend, and I believe a lot of you are going camping. The weather outside looks
Crap.
slightly rainy.
Yeah, I heard
Slightly
it's gonna rain the whole of the
Yep.
weekend and next week. So yeah,
But at least we're in a wonderful country, so we can get a bit of rain, and we're not complaining about that. So
and
yeah,
we're in a caravan. So
we're in a
it can rain.
caravan, so the guys in tents out there. Take it easy, boys. All right, enjoy that. See you all somewhere around the campfire. Thanks, okay.
Bye bye.